Hello, my name is Brian Long, and I am doing the Chapter 14 presentation on organizational structure and design. First thing that came to my mind as I was reading this chapter was how an organizational structure is much like the human body in terms of having different systems which are responsible for different bodily functions. And so I thought about that, and there are a lot of similarities at the beginning of the chapter, but toward the end of the chapter, you'll see that an organizational structure differs much from the body systems. An organizational structure is a design that is the process of selecting and managing aspects of organizational structure and culture to enable the organization to achieve its goals. A common theme in organizations is how to be successful, and this structure plays a great part in whether the organization will either fail or succeed. There's an organizational chart that you see in chapter 14 that shows the chain of command between all the different positions that are held within a business. And you see the relationships that each employee has to management, to leadership, and so forth and so on. Characteristics of an organizational structure are by the division of labor, by the number of people reporting directly to an individual. When an organization creates a hierarchy, it outlines supervision relationships by giving some employees authority over others, supervisors, bosses, that kind of thing. Organizations are first formed. They look at concentrating power and decision making authority who will have those roles. Those roles are usually determined long before the organization starts the hiring process for other employees. There are different kinds of structures. Here's where before it was a lot like the body, where you have the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, so forth and so on. Here they begin to shift and be a little bit different. For instance, a mechanistic organization is one that is rigid, traditional bureaucracies with centralized power and a hierarchical communications. Job descriptions are uniform, and formal rules and regulations guide decision making. More mechanistic organizations may minimize cost that fit best with a relatively stable or slow changing environment. Now today, you probably to be successful would need the organic organization. Organic organizations are flexible, decentralized organizations with unclear lines of authority. They have decentralized power, open communication channels, and a focus on adaptability and helping employees accomplish their goals. I think when you think of structures like these, you think of a lot of the businesses in Silicon Valley that are doing things totally different than the mechanistic organizations did for so many decades in this country. One example is that they have days where employees can wear flip-flops to work, even management. And so that is a more organic structure. Leaders need to have delegation skills, and your best leaders will have the best delegation skills. One person cannot do everything within an organization. They have to be able to pick up on which employees have the skills, capability, and information to complete a task. They need to be able to provide a thorough explanation and expectation for what is expected. They can delegate the authority to others to help complete a task, such as a task can come down from upper management, but there are still supervisors in charge of the group as a whole that delegate the responsibility even more. Though they help to provide the necessary tools and information. They try to create a win-win situation. Delegate in a way that the recipient feels like they're being rewarded for being assigned a task, rather than feeling like it is a punishment. And they need to be able to respect the workload that employees have. If they overload one employee with too much, and meanwhile another employee is not given any responsibility, that can breed contempt in the workplace. The determinants of an organizational structure depend on the business. One of the most important factors today is deciding on what your business strategy is. Another important factor is the external environment for which you find your business located. A third factor is the nature of the organization's talent. For instance, you would not want to move a tech business into an area that doesn't have a lot of college graduates in the computer science field, because you would not be able to fill your staffing needs with suitable employees. More determinants of organizational structure is the size that the organization is going to be. Once again, you do not want to move a 10,000 employee organization into an area that only has $2,000 to $3,000 people, and you're going to be relying on a lot of transportation for your employees. This pretty much summarizes the contents of chapter 14. I have enjoyed this class very much, and thank you all for all your perspectives. And may God bless you in your educational journey going forth. Thank you, and God bless you. Shane?
Yeah.
Ready, bud?